got on comms in it with them.
Welcome back to SAFC Live, where we're going to try and dissect that 3-0 defeat for Sunderland away at Hillsborough. Myself and Danny Collins are in the studio here. Danny, of course, you summed it up at the end there, but it's not going well for Sunderland at the moment in the league.
It's certainly not, is it? No, it's not going to plan at all. I think, after the good work we've done really in those first sort of 10 games or so, where we got ourselves into a good position. And I think everyone's thinking, we've turned the corner after the end of last season, really, where we fell away. A lot of new players have come in, a lot of players have left the club, and things were looking promising. And all of a sudden, in the space of 3-4 games, it's a difficult spell for us at this moment in time. And obviously tonight we haven't scored goals. We found it difficult at the weekend at Rotherham, and every time the ball's coming in and around our box at the minute, we look fragile and it looks like it's going to end up in the back of the net.
It's important we do these programmes when we win, of course, we can enjoy them, but it's also important that we do these programmes when we lose as well. I'm going to start doing that by looking at the goals this evening. Let's start by running them. This will be the first one we'll see here, Danny.
Yeah, I think the key for me is when that ball goes out wide. I think if you just look at the bottom of your picture and that diagonal, and you see the man out wide, the left wing back there, and as it comes across, and then I think Lyndon Gooch, he just switches off. He's watching the play over on the far side, and then as it drops to Corbino on that left-hand side, see there, we don't win the first header. Ball comes up, Tom Flanagan doesn't get the first contact, and I think Winchester's in a good position, to be fair to him. He's got his man with his back to goal, and then it's just that next one then after there, and then he takes it first time. It's a great finish. You've got to give him credit. To be fair, was he right on the edge of the box, 18 yards out, bent it past Hoffman into that bottom corner, and it almost, came against the run of play because they were quiet for 10 minutes, Sheffield Wednesday. Didn't offer a lot, really, and then find themselves 1-0 up. This was our best opportunity. I think Ross does well driving into the box, cannons off Lyndon Gooch and falls to Dan Neal, who strikes it really well, but unfortunately, see one or two of the lads having a word with the linesman, but he's got a better view of it than what we have. We can slow it down, I think, as much as we like in the studio, but we're not looking down the line of it, are we? And you can look at the 6-yard line and try and use it as a bit of a gauge, but maybe Lyndon Gooch does look half a yard ahead of there.
Lyndon Gooch doesn't protest much, does he?
No, he doesn't, to be fair, no. So, we're clutching at straws, really, if that's our best opportunity of the evening. And then here's 2-0 now. I think Sheffield Wednesday, they were quiet, we were on top, we had a lot of possession. And again, he does well, stands the ball up there, Corbino into the middle. And on the opposite side of the wing, Canberra comes in, ghosts in between. You see it now, I think. In the middle, I think if you look there, there's almost 3v3 at the far post. You see Flanagan comes there, Doyle's got his eye on the man there, and it's just that one then. Sirkin's unsure whether to stay with his man, who's deeper, or come narrow. And it's pretty much a carbon copy, as I said, of that first goal at the weekend. Yeah, Sirkin's unsure there. Do I come narrow or do I stay with my man at the far post? And I think there you've got to go narrow. Listen, he might not have been able to get inside him and affect it, but there, just worry about the man closest to the goal, not furthest out.
This one really knocked the stuffing
out
of us.
Start of the second half, we actually, again, started okay first couple of minutes, and then that sums it up, comes out to Patterson, and when things are going against you, as they are at this moment in time, I don't think you can tell me there he's gone to cross that. I say it comes across the pitch. We're not in a bad situation. Maybe is it Sirkin can come up there. He's a little bit deep. He's 10 yards off his man, but as it comes to Patterson, he strikes it, and I'm not having that's a cross. He's choked the shot really, but Lee Gregory, fair play to him. He's on the move, gets in between Winchester and Flanagan and stabs it home, and then that was the end of that. As we said at the weekend, once it was 3-1, Aidy McGeady was sent off. That was the end of that game. 3-0 there. Still a long way to go, but that was game over. Yes, we made a few substitutions. We had a little bit of a possession towards the end, but Sheffield Wednesday were comfortable. They knew the game was won. They sat in, and that was that. That was disappointing.
Let me give you some stats then. The BBC have just published theirs of the game. Sunderland actually had 64% possession to Sheffield Wednesday's 36. Sunderland had 14 shots to Sheffield Wednesday's 10. I think this is the most telling stat of the evening, though. Shots on target, Sunderland had 5. Sheffield Wednesday only had 4 shots on target.
Yeah, there you go.
Putting 3 of them away.
Yeah, that's the story really. If you'd have said to me we'd had 14 shots, I'd have been scratching my head, to be honest. I know you can look at these stats sometimes and they count half efforts as shots, don't they, really? But
those shots on target, though, that tells a story.
Yeah, well, it is, yeah. Well, they used the ball well in terms of theirs, didn't they? And we'll say worked Hoffman. Well, they beat him. But at the other end, Peacock Farrell didn't really have a save to make. Ross Stewart had a header at the end, which, he's leaning back and doesn't get any power on it. And then first half, he's quiet as well. So possession. You can have as much possession as you like, and yeah, we are a possession-based team, I'd say, this season, but it's what you do with it as well, and we didn't do enough with it in that final third.
Let's have a look at the other scores in and around EFL League One this evening, if we can. And then we'll have a look at the table as well. But this is the scores. Charlton Athletic 1, Rotherham 1, Crewe 1, Doncaster Rovers 1, Fleetwood 2, Wigan Athletic 3, Morecambe 0, Cambridge 2, Portsmouth 1, Cheltenham 1, and Wycombe 1, Ipswich 4. Let's see what that does to the table. Sunderland still 5th, 28 points.
Yeah.
Wigan top of the league though.
Yeah, Wigan, they dug a result out there. They were losing at half-time, weren't they? But credit to them, they've come back, and it's a bit of a topsy-turvy league, isn't it? You know, results going against you, but we keep looking at results, but we've got to do our own job, and we're not doing that at the minute. And I think Ipswich now are coming into it as well. They had a good win away at Wycombe, 4-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slow start for Ipswich, but I did expect them to kick on and be up there this season, so that you see them there creeping up the table in 9th.
Of course, by the time Sunderland play again in the league, we're going to have another couple of games in hand as well on the rest of the pack. We have got one in hand on the people above us. We could go as high as 3rd, I think, if we were to win that, but it's all ifs and maybes, and tonight was a game in hand.
Yeah, and that's the annoying thing. You see there, we've lost, 3 on the bounce, and we're still right in amongst it. Even if you nick a win out of those and maybe a draw.
That just shows how much of a good start we had at the
good start. Yeah, we've got that to fall back
season.
on. That's the frustration, isn't it? Fine margins as well. I think we've a good start to the season. As I said, there are a lot of new faces coming in. They've gelled quite quick, really. A few injuries, haven't we? We've had 6 or 7 lads in the treatment room. Obviously, Denver's gone in there. Aidan McGeady drops out suspension, so we have 1 or 2 coming and going. Nice to have Broadhead back with us this evening. But it's frustrating. If we can get all the bodies back out there, of course, throughout the course of the season, you are going to pick up injuries. But I'm sure as well they're looking ahead to January for reinforcements in certain key positions as well.
Okay then, Danny, grit your teeth. It's time for hashtag Ask Danny now, and this is what the fans have been saying. First one comes in from Daniel, who says, how hard is it to maintain team spirit in a run of bad results? It must be hard for some players, such as Stewart, should not be angry at his defensive teammates. What's it going to be like in the dressing room tonight, Danny?
Yeah, it's tough, yeah, and I know he's obviously asking about Stewart and that, yeah, as a collective, really, not just Stewart. I think they know this isn't good enough. They know at the weekend that was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for themselves as the players, for the manager, and for the fans that had travelled down there, against one of your so-called promotion rivals, and then follow it up again this evening. You're thinking, can we get back at it? Because the defeats we had earlier in the season, we actually responded well, didn't we? Burton, I think, in Portsmouth. But we haven't managed to after Charlton. And as he's asking there, Daniel, I think the team spirit, it's tough. When things are going well, in and around the training ground, it's great. You have a win. Whether it's Saturday, you can't wait to get back in on a Monday morning. Spirits are high. Everybody's having a laugh and a joke around the training ground. You get out there, you're doing your possession boxes, and everyone's at it, really. This is where you find out your characters now when you're having a tough spell. And we mentioned it before the game. We had a quite experienced team out there this evening. Just the 3 sort of youngsters in Dan Neal, Sirkin and Callum Doyle. So, yeah, it's tough for these boys as well. And it's key that the experienced lads help them through this tough period and that they don't go under, really. We've got other young lads as well in the squad who aren't perhaps involved at the minute. But you've just got to pick yourselves up. It's not always down to the senior lads. Yes, they're there to try and help these younger boys through. But at the same time, these are men almost now coming into men's football. And it'll make them stronger in characters, when you have these tough times. I've been there myself in my career. You're on bad runs and, you're thinking, where do we get out of this? But what can you do? You get back to the training ground. You work on things. Lee Johnson will be, I'm sure, back on that bus tonight, scratching his head, having sleepless nights. But that's part of his job being a manager as well. So he's got, three days or so now to try and get a team ready for Mansfield at the weekend. I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes.
But we have seen success in the Cups this season, so perhaps, going back to those and getting some winning mentality back within the side, it could happen.
Well, that's key, yeah. As he's asked there, how hard is it when you're in a bad run of results, win a game of football, it gets you back out of that rut.
Yeah.
If we can do it against Mansfield and then Bradford, there'll be a lot of change in personnel, but it's getting that winning feeling back into the training ground as well. And as I say, that's where you spend 4 or 5 days of the week in the training ground. So if you get that spirit back up as quick as you can, then obviously that's going to help in terms of results as well.
Thanks, Danny. Let's move on to the next one then, please. This one's from Chris, who says, even when it's 0-0 in games, we seem very rushed when on the ball and giving away the ball a lot. Are we missing a player that can take charge in the middle or at the back and calm things down when needed? I thought today we showed some good possession at times, didn't we? But there was a lot of play, very stop-start in the middle as well, wasn't there?
It was frantic in the middle. As I say, they had 3 in the middle of the park, and we did as well this evening. So, 6 or 7 players, and I was watching it here, and I know it's easier when you're high up.
But you were shouting out to use the wide players.
Use the width, yeah. I think Sirkin had space, Winchester had space. And then when you've got Aidan O'Brien on the other side, he was playing on that left-hand side. He likes to come narrow, doesn't he? He's not a natural winger, whereas Gooch is more of a winger. And I was thinking, can we get Gooch on the ball a little bit more? But he didn't see a lot of it, and he had a frustrating night out there on that right-hand side. But yeah, I think Corey Evans in that first half, I thought he was good. He broke up play, got a few tackles in, and he does try to calm us down, and he just sits in there like Barry Bannon did for them. What he's asking there is what we perhaps needed a little bit more of. Someone like a Bannon in there, experienced, just to take the ball and to tick us over when it does become frantic, and it is a lot of the time at League One level. Are we missing a player that can take charge at the middle? Well, the squad is what we've got at this moment in time. I think if he's on about that in terms of at the back as well. I think Flanagan's been good up until the last couple of games, really. So much tonight was he involved in the goals this evening. Maybe that first ball goes up. If he wins that first header, clears it, then it obviously doesn't drop, and what happens after that? So, but he never. In terms of who else are you looking at for Leeds? You've got Bailey Wright. He's not involved at the minute. Alves, I'm sure, is perhaps wondering now, will he get a chance? As I said, I think he done well at Queen's Park Rangers last week. He's seen us concede 8 goals since then. So I'm sure he's thinking, am I going to get a chance? He'll probably play on Saturday. Now it's up to him now. If he comes in and he does well, does he stay in the team? Like the others are out there now, the shirts are up for grabs. We said it earlier on this season where lads can't go knocking on the manager's door because he'll say, there's the league table. Well, at this moment in time, these lads can say, Gaffer, I'm training well. We've lost 3 on the bounce. Am I going to get a chance?
Yep.
So,
let's move on to the next one. This one's from Rob, who says 9 goals against in 3 games with the same back 5 in the league. Is it time Alves and Burge got their chance with reference to their performance against QPR? Well, you just mentioned that, didn't you? The suggestion there from Rob as well that we change the goalkeeper as well in the starting 11.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think there was 1 or 2 mentions tonight. Would he come out, and not just in terms of his performance, but for him to concede that many goals, knocking his confidence. He's a young lad coming in. Yes, he's coming from Bayern Munich. But in terms of experience, he's not, he hasn't choked up a lot of games in his career so far. So to come here, and he had a pretty good start, didn't he, really, after his first game, he settled in. But yeah, as you say, for the goalkeeper conceding, 9 times out of 10, a manager might just pull a goalie aside and say, listen, I'll just give you a breather, charge your batteries, get back to training, get your confidence back, and he'll bring Lee Burge in. And to be fair to Lee Burge, he'll have been frustrated. He was the number 1 choice last season. He knows Hoffman's come in. He's now the number 1. So he's had to bide his time on the bench, but he put in a good performance last week down at Queen's Park Rangers. So, yeah, Rob's asking the question. We're
definitely going to see changes in the next game.
Yeah, of course we will, yeah. How many, we're not sure. We could see a 9 or 10, really. You've got Pritchard coming back in, Embleton, these lads who come off the bench, Diaku. So there's chances there for the manager, again, to change it. But he's got to get a tune out of these boys as well. So, although you could say he wants to change it and freshen it up, at the same time, he's got to be thinking and building for the next game. I know it's 18 days away, isn't it, until the next league game, but he's got to use them as well as training sessions to try and get a tune out of the boys and try and get back to what he might look at going a back 3. He might change it up. Yes, we did second half Saturday, but once Aidan McGeady went off, the game was gone. So he might look at going to a back 3. I know we haven't used it this season. He's settled with a back 4. Could look to change formation as well and try that out in these next couple of games.
Try and get some confidence back into that side. Nice parrot as well there, Rob, on your profile picture. Let's move on to the next one then, please. From Andrew, who says, are the defensive frailties we've seen in the last few games a result of teams learning how we play, or were we just lucky in the early part of the season and being exposed now?
No, I think with these balls coming in, I think earlier in the season we've defended really well. I think early on you could say Callum Doyle coming in at 17-year-old, no one had seen him play. Everyone's wondering what he's going to be like, and I think he settled in really well.
Well, the fans raving about him,
yeah.
And Tom Flanagan as well.
Tom Flanagan as well, where Tom was coming off the back of previous where, yes, he'd had tough times, so the doubts were there for Tom, but he stepped up this season. You know, those first 9-10 games, as I was saying, between the two of them, played really well in a defensive partnership. So
Winchester as well, you know,
Winchester at right back.
Earned the nickname Winnie-ester as well at right back, and scored a couple of goals.
Yeah, again tonight I thought he was okay, Winchester, if I'm honest. Could you dig him out for any of the goals? Not really, I don't think, but and he's done a great job at right back. Now you've got Huggins, who unfortunately has picked up an injury. I think he was excellent at Wigan in the Cup, and he had a good game against Cheltenham here as well. So we've got him to come back in.
And Denver, of course, has gone out injured again.
Up an injury, so that's what we go back to, where we seem to get one in and one out at the minute. But I think, yeah, in terms of these, you know, people are questioning, you know, balls coming in. We're a little bit flaky, a little bit milky with these balls coming in. We're not defending, we're not big and strong. And you look at the weekend, we conceded 5 goals in our 6-yard box. You know, you don't see that often in a game, do you, where the ball's coming in now. People might say, can Hoffman come and help out? Can he command his box a little bit more? Maybe. Or can the lads who are picking them up do a better job? And I think, if I'm honest, I look at that, and as a former defender, I don't think we get, I said it Saturday, we don't get enough first contacts on these balls coming into the box. Once you lose that first one, it's panic stations, the ball's dropping around, and you see it time and time again. We're managing to scramble things clear. Now, obviously, we conceded 5 at the weekend, and the 3 we've conceded tonight. And I don't think Sheffield Wednesday, if I'm honest, were any great shapes, were they? They didn't get out of second gear. What did you say? We had 68% of the ball or something along those lines?
Just check
63?
64.
64% of the ball. You know, they've had, 5 or 6 shots and scored
4 shots on target, 3 goals.
Yeah, so frustrations and that. So, yeah, we need to tighten up at the back. The lads at the back need to go out and work on things in training. Doesn't come from just the lads at the back as well. It comes through the team. You know, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? You defend as a unit, where the lads are coming back at set plays and helping out the midfield boys as well. But we need to, one thing we do need to do is to tighten it up. You know, leaking 8 goals in 2 games is not acceptable.
Thanks, Andrew, for your hashtag. Let's move on to another one then. This one's from Ian, who says, we simply cannot allow the opposition to score first because we cannot penetrate the packed defence against us, which opponents will then deploy. Every shot we had tonight was blocked or went straight to the keeper. We definitely saw that at times in the game, didn't we? As Ian's mentioned in his tweet, that Sheffield Wednesday just got so many people behind the ball, didn't they? Yeah, compact, yeah. They got themselves in front, as he's asking there. The opposition scored first, as Rotherham did at the weekend early on. 10 minutes again, wasn't it? Same tonight. But I do actually feel, after he's asking that, but we did have a good spell, didn't we? We had a good 20, 25 minutes maybe where we were getting into good positions. And to be fair, as he mentioned there, they did get bodies back. I think the one that springs to mind is Aidan O'Brien, when he picked up that loose ball, didn't he? And there were 2 or 3 lads throwing themselves in front of the ball. Yeah. And where we, this season, have got a lot of joy for me, is when we move the ball quicker. The goal at Saturday, 2-3 passes we play through, doesn't give the opposition chance to get back in, to get organised and set in their positions. I go back the Wigan game as well. Wickham at home, Dan Neil into Ross Stewart, 2-3 passes, and that's where we're getting the joy. I just feel in the last few games we're moving the ball a little bit slower. We said it on comms there. Too many touches in the middle of the park, too congested, as he's mentioned. Needed to get the ball out wide quicker. Out to Sirkin, out to Winchester on this right-hand side, who had a bit of space in front of them, get us up the pitch with a little bit more tempo. So we need to get that back into us. And then, as you say, if you get that tempo, you move the ball quicker, then it's obvious, really, the opposition don't have that time to then get set in their positions. Thanks for your tweet there, Ian, and thanks to anyone who's sent their hashtags our way. We always appreciate it, and it's always hard on an evening like this, but myself and Danny are more than equipped and prepared to take it on and, you know, front it out, if you like, on evenings like this. The next time we'll be on air with SAFC Live will be against Bradford in the EFL Trophy. That's because we're not carrying the game on Saturday in the FA Cup against Mansfield Town. Tickets still are available at the Stadium of Light for that one. Otherwise, we'll be back on air in the league on Saturday, the 20th of November against Ipswich, which is a 3 p.m. kickoff at the Stadium of Light as well. Thanks for being with us this evening. I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm sure we'll see you next time. Thank you.